President-elect W. Kent Fuchs. How does that feel?
It sounds nice.
I bet it does. All on behalf of everyone at the University of Florida, the Gainesville community, and the Gator Nation around the world, we congratulate you as the 12th president of the University of Florida. We're very excited to have you in Gainesville. And Linda Fuchs, congratulations to you as well. And we understand that this is a team effort, and we couldn't be more excited to have you all in Gainesville and with us.
Thank you, Randy.
We also appreciate your willingness to sit down and talk a little bit and tell us a little bit about who the Foxes are and your family and your background, because this has been a trek through your life, through your careers, and here in Gainesville is where we are now, and we're thrilled about that. So thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Oh, our privilege and honor. Thank you.
Now we understand, Dr. Fuchs, that you have only been in Gainesville for a couple of days, but can you give us your initial impressions of Gainesville, of the University of Florida, and of the Gator Nation?
Well, this is homecoming weekend coming up, and I've just had the privilege of being outside and shaking hands with a large number of students that are getting the t-shirts for the homecoming game. And it's a lot of excitement outside. One of the first things you notice when you walk around campus are the students that are here and their enthusiasm about being a member of the Gator Nation, of studying at the University of Florida, and their commitment to all the activities that students are involved in addition to their studies. It's a beautiful campus, and we're just so honored and to have the privilege of being the next president and Linda, my partner in this great venture.
Well, you're sitting in a wonderful post at Cornell as provost. What is it that attracted you to this position at the University of Florida?
To start with, its reputation of the university. It has this global, worldwide reputation of being excellent in all of its thousands and hundreds of endeavors. And I've known about the university ever since I was in high school. I actually went to high school in South Florida, and the opportunity of being at a spectacular university was just irresistible. And it's a great match with my background.
Linda, if we can, take a few moments and talk a little bit about the trip that you and your husband made to Gainesville this past summer to get a little feel for the community and for the university.
We have lived primarily in small-ish towns. That suits us pretty well, and we really enjoyed the opportunity to just get a glimpse of how the university is interfacing with the rest of the community, and the size of the university, the way it's put together, and yes, enjoying the weather.
You know, there really is a very strong town-gown relationship between the University of Florida and Gainesville. Can the two of you speak about what that means to you, and how exciting is it to step into a community where you know there's so much support for you as the leader of the university?
Well, Gainesville is known nationally as a wonderful place to live, and in addition to study as students, to live and to work. So the community has this national reputation as being a place to come and reside. And the university obviously is a major part of that, the most significant part of that. And it's made great strides in the past few years in focusing on the economy of the local community. I had a tour 2 days ago of Innovation Square, which is a wonderful initiative of bringing students, bringing entrepreneurs and companies to the Gainesville area and the downtown region. So it's a nationally known destination, but with great opportunities for the future.
Personally, what does Gainesville seem to offer to you all that you all personally enjoy in a community? I know Ithaca is a very nice place, Champaign-Urbana very nice, West Lafayette, these college towns that you've lived in. What is it about Gainesville that seems to feel right for you to make this home?
Well, Linda mentioned the weather already, and we've lived in places where the weather for about 6, 7, 8 months is quite different, and so we're looking for that, obviously. Secondly, The people we have met across the whole community over the past 3 days of interviews and meetings and tours have just been special. They really have. Even before I was selected or elected by the trustees to be the next president, there's a welcoming, there's a warmth, there's a kindness, and that's so appealing.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Well, it's funny. I think what you'll find is as you're traveling the world, and as people begin to recognize you as the president of the university and the wife of the president of the university, and you're wearing some type of UF apparel, you're walking through an airport and somebody will say, "Go Gators." And you'll respond, "Go Gators," exactly. So
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Preeminence initiative that the university has been so committed to. During the last couple of days, you've talked about this notion of stature and how you want UF to even outperform top 10. Would you mind to speak with us about that?
Oh, absolutely. First off, one of the most attractive features of the University of Florida is not just that it's already one of the world's greatest universities, but that it has aspirations to be even stronger, to even further enhance its already marvelous reputation. I find that incredibly appealing. And secondly, that the university has officially been designated by the state of Florida as a preeminent university. That role is something that we don't have to claim. It's officially designated. And then thirdly, the fact that there are resources that the university has raised through friends and donors to the university, but also investments from the state to achieve these aspirations. That is a component that is just so important, and again, that I find incredibly attractive. Preeminence, I love that phrase, and the way I think about it is, as you said, I use the word stature, because that incorporates two themes. The first theme is indeed excellence in all that we are involved in, the education, the scholarship, and the difference we're going to make in society. Excellence in all of that. But it also incorporates your relative position compared to other universities worldwide, that you will be known not just as being excellent, but one of the very, very best. I'm competitive as most of us are, and I want to help the university even be stronger than its competitors, than its peers. And that's stature, and indeed that's what Preeminence is all about.
Let's talk for a moment about your leadership style and how, on a daily basis, you interact with those that you work with, those that you lead, and those that are proud to have you leading them. And we're talking about students as well as faculty. What's that look like?
Well, others would describe me as a good listener, and I take pride in that, and I cultivate that, and I intend actually to do that here as president. Listening to the internal constituents, students, faculty, and the employees of the university, but also externally. Spending time listening to what our graduates want to have in this university for the future, what they would like to see it achieve, how they can even themselves contribute back to the university. So I believe, first off, I'm a good listener, and one that takes the information that I hear and then uses it to further benefit the university in this case. Secondly, I'm also known as an individual who really has concrete goals and plans for the future based on consensus building across the institution. So I've had the privilege of leading strategic planning initiatives at three other roles that I've had. And we're so blessed here at the University of Florida in having already specific goals for the future, part of them tied into the Preeminence initiative, and areas that we want to excel in being a top 10 public land-grant university. So I'm also a planner as well as a listener. Then I would say lastly, I'm very collaborative in the midst of all of that process, but yet understand that leaders have really defined, distinct roles at times where you have to make a decision. And sometimes that means even a decision when there isn't consensus. So I sometimes will act in ways that are in the best interest of the university, even when consensus may not be possible. But listening, collaboration, and planning are, I would say, the fundamental aspects of the way that I lead.
Does the difference in scale, because you've talked about this as well, one of the things that attracts you to the University of Florida is the scale and the level of resources, but also the complexity that can go with that. Is that different than a situation with Cornell when it comes to how you lead, or same principles?
I think it's the same principles. And I think the other component of this, though, is you need exceptional individuals that are leading with you. You can't have one person that's moving forward and no one else following. You really have to have a marvelous team across the whole university. And I'm so impressed with the individuals that I have met here in all components of the university. Athletics, the medical sciences complex, the academic leaders, the individuals that oversee the students. They're all quite special, and the Gator Nation should be really proud of those individuals.
Let's switch courses just very briefly and talk about your family and talk about your personal backgrounds. So you grew up in Oklahoma primarily. Tell us a little bit about that background in Oklahoma, about your family, your parents, and how did the road take you to South Florida?
Well, I was indeed born in southwest Oklahoma. My father was a farmer, as was his brothers and his sister in Elk City, Oklahoma. But at about age 4, my father combined two of his hobbies. He, as a farmer, was an amateur radio operator, and secondly, he was a pilot. He had a little airplane that he would land on the farm fields in southwest Oklahoma, and he decided to go become an air traffic controller. So he went to Oklahoma City and was trained there in what was called the Civil Aviation Agency at the time. And the only job opening he was able to find after he graduated was in Alaska. So the family, my mom, my dad, and myself drove to Alaska when I was about 4 years old. And I spent much of my early childhood in a town called Homer, Alaska, south of Anchorage. But then my parents grew tired of the long winters, and in 9th grade they decided they were going to move to Florida. So I actually went to high school in Miami-Killian Senior High School in South Florida. And that is a background that combines the extremes of the United States. Alaska and then the warmth and the quite distinctive weather of Miami.
So we'll talk about college and then your career in just a few moments, but Linda, how did the two of you meet? Where did you come together?
We met over an overdue library book, mine, at Trinity Evangelical Divinity School in Deerfield, Illinois, an hour north of Chicago. And so I was working on an MA, Biblical Studies. He was working on an MDiv, and we had friends that helped us connect. Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your family, your children. I understand your new grandparents. So where is everyone?
Well, we have 3 sons and a daughter. 2 of the sons are engineers. One is in New Jersey, working in solar energy right now. One is in Baton Rouge, the new dad of 2 months. And we have a 3rd son who is working on a master's in public policy in Seattle. And our 4th child, our daughter, is in Long Beach. She's an artist, teaching art and applying for an MFA.
Now, you had mentioned that the two of you have just recently taken a very special trip together.
Yes, my daughter and I went to Denmark for 10 days. This was a development trip with Biola University, her alma mater, and it was a blast. We went traveling with some artists and other Danes and did everything from visiting Viking mounds to touring churches being renovated with modern art, 800, 400-year-old churches. And then we went to Noma, which has been rated as best restaurant in the world 2010 through 12.
Was it?
So, it was an interesting experiment, I would say. The service was out of this world. You have to imagine our group of 18 being met for every one of 20 courses by 10 waiters coming out, each with a dish in hand and presenting it all. So it was service that cannot be topped. The 10th waiter would explain the dish, we would have 3 or 4 bites, and then it was on to the next course.
So tell us just a little bit about your new grandson, Henry.
Henry Gray Fuchs. He has just started smiling when he's awake. That's a good thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing him Monday.
So tell us what a relaxing weekend at home looks like, or is there such a thing?
There is. We actually own a small little cottage, a 1-bedroom cottage on one of the Finger Lakes called Lake Skaneateles. And it's only about a 40-minute drive from where we live in Ithaca. So we will frequently go up there to spend our weekends together. And we bring our wireless connectivity for the computers so we can stay connected with email and do some work. But I enjoy taking our sailboat that we have there, a little sailboat that is just the right size to single-handedly sail, and I take it out on Lake Skaneateles, which is a 8-mile-long lake, about a mile wide. And Linda enjoys tending the garden and the grounds that we have, as well as reading. That to us is probably the ideal getaway weekend.
So how's the sailing coming along?
No one yet has died, okay, and the boat still exists. We have gone out as a family and had a number of adventures on other sailboats, but I'm still learning, and it's a skill that takes energy and all your concentration, which is wonderful. So you can start sailing very easily, but to become really, really good, it takes consistent effort, and that's an ideal hobby in some sense. It is fun, it's easy to start, and yet it takes your concentration.
So the time that you spent at places like Cornell and Purdue and Illinois as a couple, what does that mean in going through those things together as a team, and how does that translate to the University of Florida?
Well, it is a real blessing to have a partner like Linda to be a part of this great adventure over the next 10 years or so in leading the University of Florida. And we value a number of things, not only in our own relationship, but in the way that we work with other individuals. And in the president's role, there are distinctive features, attributes that are important that others see and indeed maybe model. One of those is warmth and a sense of being accessible and open and listening to other people, no matter who they are, other individuals. A second would be being a couple and indeed a president who is committed with all of your energies, all of your time, and all of your skills and abilities to working on behalf of the university. But I think most importantly, in all that we do, we want to support the aspirations and help others achieve the goals that they have, and to convey that we're working on behalf of, indeed, in this case, the whole Gator Nation. So those are some attributes that we intend to model, and we believe are important.
So you've spoken of the honor of working at 3 land-grant institutions.
Yes.
2 publics and 1 private.
Yes.
And as you know, the University of Florida is very proud of being a land-grant institution.
Yes.
But you also speak that, in your mind, land-grant means much more
Yes.
than a focus on agriculture and extension.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. The University of Florida is just justifiably proud of being the university that was created as a result of the Morrill Act in the 1800s, and it has a distinctive role, mission, and even mandate to make a difference in people's lives, particularly in the state of Florida. And justifiably so, one of the very visible ways that that difference, that impact is expressed is in indeed the agriculture community, which is very, very important for the state of Florida. So I take that as a foundational given that the university will continue its excellence and through the extension offices, through the scholarship, through the teaching of the faculty in areas in agriculture related to it. But I also believe firmly that a land-grant university is indeed a land-grant university, not just a piece of it, but actually all of it. And that includes, I would say, even the humanities and the fine arts, as well as the social sciences and the physical sciences, life sciences, and engineering. And it's a mandate that allows you to express the benefit that the university will have for people, for society, for government, and indeed for even the state, and I would say for the nation and the world.
You mentioned humanities.
Yes.
Over the past couple of days, you've used a metaphor of a flower
Yes.
in discussing this and a university's commitment. Would you mind to share that with us?
I'd love to. So the American Academy commissioned and wrote a report called The Heart of the Matter. And they took that report and actually took artists and those that work in the arts and the humanities and used the report as a foundation for a short film about the role of the humanities and the social sciences and the importance and the difference. And that film starts with a picture of indeed a flower. And you can see the beautiful blossom and the stem that supports the flower. And the way you can think of that is that flower encapsulates all of human knowledge, maybe even humanity. And the stem is important for a flower. And you could think of indeed the STEM as being science, technology, engineering, and math. The STEM is all about the how of knowledge, how things happen. But the flower is indeed the arts. It's the humanities. It's the performing arts. And you need both. The blossom of that flower is supported by the stem, but you need both the blossom as well as the flower. So the blossom and the stem to compose the whole flower.
Interesting. Internationalism and partnerships are obviously a tremendous emphasis for any institution like the University of Florida. You've been very successful at Cornell in forging those international partnerships. Can you speak to that and what you see at UF?
Yes. Well, the university is blessed by having already two things. A number of international students that study here, that go on and do amazing things worldwide, some in the United States, some back in their own countries. And then secondly, it has engagement around the world through faculty, study abroad, and programs in Europe as well as programs in Central and South America and Africa. In my mind, that is really important and to be celebrated. What I have as a goal in my presidency is very simply to have the university be known for its reputation worldwide. And we'll think and plan and dream and actually implement ways that will be achieved globally. It might indeed be having more programs overseas in other countries. But in all of that, what we want to do is to build a reputation so that a citizen of any country in any part of the world will think of the University of Florida when they think of some of the world's best universities. They'll think of the University of Florida when they want to go study at one of those best universities. So it's all about building and enhancing and growing its reputation and the knowledge about all the great accomplishments. We want every citizen of the world actually to become a member of the Gator Nation, or at least to desire to be a member of the Gator Nation.
Dr. Kent Fuchs, recently appointed the 12th president of the University of Florida. Linda Fuchs, congratulations to both of you, and thank you for becoming a part of the Gator Nation. And as we say, go Gators.
Go Gators.